when you hear preaching, especially at Easter, about the cross of Christ, you hear about nails in His hands and whips and what the Romans did to Him. And that's very important to proclaim. But if that's all you hear about the cross, that He was beaten, that He was nailed to a tree, that a crown of thorns was on His head, that a spear went into His side, then you have not heard the cross preached. You have not heard the cross preached. I remember when Mel Gibson came out with the movie The Passion, which I've never seen. But I remember getting so many emails from pastors all around the country saying, "What do you think about that movie? Do you accept it? Do you have problems with it?" And I wrote every one of them back. I have more problems with the way pastors preach the gospel than I do with Mel Gibson's movie. Mel Gibson's movie, apparently, from what I'm told, attempted to show the grotesque physical torture that Christ underwent on behalf of men. And I assure you, it was far worse than what anybody could portray, because it says that He was so disfigured as a human being that you could no longer tell He was a man. So that is important. But that is not even the beginning of what happened. Do you remember when Jesus was in the garden and He cried out, "Let this cup pass from me, let this cup pass from me, let this cup pass from me"? Everyone always asks the question, what was in the cup? What was in the cup? What is it that Christ agonized over in the cup? And I heard people say, well, you know, Christ could foresee the cat of nine tails coming across His back, and Christ could foresee the crown of thorns, and Christ could foresee the nails in His hands and what the Romans would do to Him. No! Do you think Christ was afraid of a Roman cross? Let me prove you wrong here, just by history. After Christ died, at least for the next 300 years, thousands upon tens of thousands, possibly, of Christians were crucified. And we have the testimony that most of them, many of them, went to the cross singing hymns, counting it a joy to die for their Master. Now, are you going to tell me that the followers of Jesus Christ joyfully accepted the cross, being nailed to a tree, while the captain of their salvation was terrorized in a garden? Do you honestly think the captain of our salvation, the mighty Christ, the one true Israel, was trembling over what the Romans could do to Him? The cup, although it contained a Roman cross, was not filled with a Roman cross. That cup was filled with the wrath of Almighty God. The judgment, the fierce, holy hatred of God against our sin. That is what Christ wished to detour. But being obedient to His Father, He said, "Not my will, but yours."